Songwriting with Alec. Welcome to Songwriting with Alec. My name's Alec. I'm a producer and engineer based in Austin, Texas. You know, when I'm sitting around the house just trying to enjoy myself, it's fun to pick up the guitar and kind of mindlessly strum while I watch TV. And this was just one of those chord progressions that came out of a mindless TV session. And the thing is, you can be mindlessly playing, and sometimes you'll trip on that special moment, and you'll know. Immediately pulled out my phone, recorded it. So this voice memo is going to be the jumping off point for today. You know, that's just got a good feel to it. It's kind of uplifting and a little bit emotional. You know, I don't know a ton about music theory. I'll usually pick a chord, kind of look at the circle of fifths, see what fits in there, and use that for inspiration. But I'm seeing the chords that I'm playing don't really fit in one key. I think it'd be really easy to say, oh, it doesn't fit in the key, it's not right. We need to pick some chords that fit in the key. But we just got done saying how these chords feel right to us, so let's go with our gut. We're going to see if we can come up with some other ideas to accompany this, and hopefully we can get a finished song out of it. Let's put these two ideas right next to each other and see how they play along. Just a little too far apart. Maybe we need like an in-between bridge. You know, I have the chords, I have the vocal melody, but I really don't have any words coming to me. Not the first time I've done it on this channel, but we're going to go ahead and use Jeff Tweedy's book, How to Write One Song. There's a great exercise in here that I like. Sometimes I don't even end up using anything from it, but it just gets the wheels going. So I'm going to do 10 nouns about things in my room, and then we'll do 10 adjectives about the season fall. And we drew the lines between them to see which ones kind of make interesting phrases. Here's all the phrases. And then we end up with the poem. Is this the best poem ever written? No, but it did give me a lot of places to jump off. So let's start humming again, looking at this list of phrases, and see if we can get anything. Chilly light shines down. All right, I'm feeling stuck officially, so let's jump to a different section. Finally, thinking about fall, maybe that whole exercise didn't get a phrase, but here we are. The year is coming to an end. Are you happy with where you stand? It's easy to be hard on yourself. Put yourself last. Take back what what's yours, do what you want. So we did that whole writing exercise, and I don't know if I really got anything out of it except thinking about fall and the end of the year. We didn't use any of these phrases, and we still might. It's there for if we need it. But I guess before you go and do the whole word ladder, try to start writing at a different part of the song. For me, I find a lot of the times I just need to figure out what we're writing about, and I think that's the harder part. And once you decide what you're writing about, it's a little bit easier to fill out the rest. But yeah, I'm thinking about the end of the year. I'm thinking about how we spend our time, and I think a lot of people are working so hard, and they're focusing on the future, and they're not terribly concerned about what's going on right now. But the problem with living that way is it's always about the future, and you just keep pushing it off, and one day you might wake up and realize, I haven't lived a single day in my life. Wasting time waiting for the day to come. Don't hold your breath for too long. 1 week left to live your life. Time to wise up and realize. Those last couple of verses, the ones that were really tripping me up, they just poured right out of me after I got back from that walk. So what did we learn? 1, if you're stuck, jump to a different section. You don't have to write from left to right. You can jump around and go wherever your heart desires. 2, if you are stuck, go for a walk. Go interact with the outside world. I'm happy with how this turned out. This is a pretty loose sketch of what this is. The guitar is in weird timing, and this means that it's hard to get the vocals to line up. So when we come back to really track this, I'm going to get everything very locked tight, and then hopefully this will all work out nicely. Do you need help bringing your song to life? Whether that's co-writing, mixing, mastering, producing, or anything else, check out my website. We're back for day 2 of songwriting. Day 1 was full of a couple surprises. I was a little bit confused on the key. The key I would have picked is G sharp major. And what's extra confusing is that one of those notes, the F, has 2 sharps to it. So it's a double sharp, which is a little bit confusing, which is why it also wasn't on my circle of fifths tool. The other thing that happened that was a little bit different this week, I've already edited the footage from that first day of writing. And watching myself over multiple hours, it offers a lot of perspective about what's working with the song and what's not. It can be a little bit discouraging in creating when you have to throw away some of your work, because I have a feeling we're going to have to go back and change a few things. But when you're creating, you can't be afraid to throw away some progress. I know that in the end, it's going to make a stronger end product. It's all part of the journey. So let's go ahead and get moving on today. I'm going to try to lay this in on the piano, and then we can quantize it and make sure this all lines up how I want it to. Usually I'm not into quantizing things to death, but I think that's what we want here. Let's see if we can lay these guitars in time with this quantized piano for the verse. I'm still rushing it. That change to the F is pretty hard. You have to really hold back and wait for it. I'm usually not the guy that's trying to get things to perfection. I'm usually the guy that says close enough for rock and roll. But the whole song is built around this strum pattern. So I want to make sure that it's going to hold up once we start adding other instruments, because if we're building the song on this foundation, it's like building a house with a bad foundation. It's not going to turn out well. So I'm trying to avoid problems in the future. I think this quantized piano is enough to get me in track. start looking at melodies, timing of vocals, and lyrics. Make sure all this is still speaking to us. It's not fun to redo all these things, but we're just trying to make something that's the best thing that we can make. Nothing short of great. Waste a life, waste a life. It's too many syllables. Wasting life? Maybe say wasting instead of a. Wasting life. It's the same timing issue I had on the guitar. So we're just going to say waste. Some of this can get a little frustrating sometimes. I'm going to take a deep breath. It's just the small things, right? Waste life waiting for the right time to come. All right, let's try to layer these drums in piece by piece. Again, it's the foundation. I'm going to be annoyed if I have to do these guitars a third time to the drums, but that's just how it goes sometimes. First thing is, on all these double kicks, we want the first one to be a little bit quieter. All right, next layer. Retracking the guitars for a third time, but it's going to sound great, and that's okay. So we've got a bass part that we want. Let's start working on tracking this. You know, this one's been a lot of work. As I reflected on the first day of writing, one of the things that stood out to me is sometimes you just have to push through that uncomfortable feeling of not making progress in order for you to make progress down the line. I think a lot of us feel like we're failing if we're not coming up with something instantly. But if you sit with a problem long enough, you're probably going to find the solution to it. Who knows, though? Maybe I'm fighting this uphill the whole way and it's just not going to be any good. So we're back for day 3 of working on this song, Wasting Time. It's not too often I make it to day 3, but it happens from time to time. The thing that's different about this, it leaves me a little bit intimidated and a little bit intrigued, is that each time I start to add a different instrument, the direction of the song changes a little bit. So first I came in with this voice memo, and that was on the guitar. And then I added the piano so it could help me with the timing of the guitar. And that ultimately changed how the guitar was played. And then I laid in the drums, and now I have a bass, and it doesn't feel like it all goes together, but when I solo the bass, the drums, and the vocal, I think that's a cool vibe. So maybe we modify this bass line a little bit and let that be the foundation of our song. One of the tricky things in these scenarios is you can always keep changing things, but you have to try to be objective and ask yourself, is this making the song better? But it's really easy to end up chasing your tail and nothing ever ends up getting finished. I'm kind of torn. It feels like some of the vocals need to change, some of the bass might need to change. This bass part needs to go. It just doesn't even match with the drums. We're just gonna punch in this one bass line. All right, that's a little bit less busy. So the next thing is some of these vocals, not all of them, are timed with the guitar, not timed with the bass. So some of these are going to have to get touched up. I think that's a little like catchier too. It kind of supports the vocal. Wasting time waiting for the day to come. Let's redo this guitar here. I obviously took a lot of takes to get the vocals. Part of that is because we were just changing it around so much. But I have all these extra takes that I'm not using. So I just duplicated the main one. We're going to leave that. And then we're going to start picking some other takes that we like to be the double. Wasting time waiting for the day to come. Don't hold your breath for too long. All right, let's start mixing on this one a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and do some parallel compression on the drums today. So let's go ahead and add the send. And let's start getting into some aggressive drum tones. Just go high ratio, slow attack, fast release. A little more impact on there, you know? Start bringing in the bass. The kick's so aggressive on this one. You can see how these two would be rubbing right on top of each other. So basically our options are to side chain it, or I'm kind of cool with a more mid-rangey bass. So I'm just gonna cut this bass fundamental here. And then we're gonna start boosting on the other end. So it'll be, this is the one we're trying to boost. It's over at like 130. All right, let's listen from the top here. Yeah, this was one of the tougher ones. It just took a lot of shuffling the things around. I think one of the most important lessons I had taken away from this is you got to push past that uncomfortable feeling. because you're gonna feel stuck every once in a while. But somewhere on the other side of that uncomfortable feeling is a finished song. Just remember, you have no idea which way it's gonna go. You gotta stick it out, you gotta put the work in, and at the end, you'll have something to show for it. Thanks for watching, guys.